What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the FCS Dynasty here on NCAA 06, the greatest NCAA of all time, and also features at NCAA next month too. So 8 games on tap, should be a great episode for you guys. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You have to be brand new to the channel as we jump right into the very first game of this episode. Number 6 James Madison taking on the Florida A&M Rattlers, and they are going to rattle their way to an early lead. How about this to get things going? Quay Davis, the custom player, able to get the early touchdown as Kevin Sutton, one-on-one matchup on the outside, takes full advantage of it. And the Rattlers are going to take an early lead up 7-0. But not only that, we're going to see Stephen Rogers throw an interception to Alvin Ralph, getting his first career interception of the season, coming in at a huge time right now as Florida A&M, they're trying to compete to possibly make it to a conference championship game. They are well in the hunt for that. And they got a chance to take an early 14-0 lead, and somehow Kevin Sutton gets out of all of that and still is able to toss one right into the end zone. And that is going to be another touchdown for this Rattlers squad. It's now going to be 14-0. Not what I expected. Great job by Kevin Sutton to get out of that pressure. And now we'll see what Stephen Rogers has in him. Does he have the dog in him now? Free wide set, trips to the right, looking. Rogers climbs in the pocket, is going to throw it towards the opposite side of the field. Finds David Thorne open downfield. And that is actually going to be the first down that James Madison gets in this game. And that's honestly longer than I expected. Florida A&M not known for their defensive prowess whatsoever. And they went an entire quarter without allowing a first down. Very impressive performance so far for this Rattlers team. But we'll see if James Madison could go ahead and finish the drive. 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line as Rogers got a clean pocket. He's going to look to the left-hand side. Throws it to the corner of the end zone. And that is going to be caught by the true freshman, Brad Andrauzi. And this game does get cut down to a 10-point lead after Florida A&M. They marched outfield on their next possession, and they will get a field goal. So we'll see what James Madison does here with 2:43. Easy. Stephen Rogers had no idea that he was coming and takes a massive sack there. That's going to get them inside the 15-yard line. Actually really shocked that did not end up being a fumble. Usually those blindside hits, very devastating for a quarterback, but nice recovery though by Stephen Rogers. Able to get out to the perimeter to Jody Gentry, who's able to get deep downfield, and all of a sudden, James Madison, they are threatening in Radwood territory once again. We're going to cut it right back down to a 1-possession lead. Before we go into that halftime locker room, we'll see if they can finish the drive as Rogers rolls to his left. He's going to throw it downfield, and nice little toe tap for Jody Gentry there. That will set up a goal line situation there, but they have not been very good in the red zone. In fact, bottom 5 team in the entire country. As now Rogers looking to try to add on to it, and David Thorne is going to make that catch in the end zone. And it does get cut down to a field goal game. Actually remains a pretty competitive, really tight game for the most part. But then in that second half, we start to see James Madison take over a little bit here as David Thorne is able to take it a 41-yard touchdown return that was punted in their own end zone. But yet, in spite of that, Florida A&M, they are not going to give up. Benito Zimmerman, he's going to actually break a tackle. And once again, it's a tie game. We got a tie ball game down here in the Sunshine State, and we might have an upset on our hands, depending on what goes down here in the last couple of minutes of this ball game. As we will see David Thorne take the punt return, and that punt return is going to go all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, James Madison. As David Foreign, he is him. 284 total yards today. Still Florida A&M. They got a chance to force overtime as Kevin Sutton trying to lead a last-second drive that provides half decent position, actually, as that is Quay Davis that will come down and make the catch. But they're going to have to move quickly on the offensive side. 19 seconds left to play in the ball game. Kenneth Sutton looking over the middle, but he overthrows his fullback. And that is going to put a nice little bow tie in this ball game, as that is going to finish the game here. And James Madison, they are going to end up winning the football game. They will win by a final score of 31-24. And man, the James Madison, how about these guys, man? Not their best game today, but sometimes you're not able to bring your best. You still got to figure out a way to win the football game, and that's what they did, man. That's exactly what they did. They found a way to win. Able to, after a 1-2 start, James Madison now 4-2 overall, while Florida A&M still having a solid season under the first-year head coach Justin Credible, as the Rattlers are now sitting at 500. So now we go ahead and jump into another game with conference implications. We got the Portland State Vikings going on the road, going to the Fargo Dome and taking on the number 8 team in college football, North Dakota State, as they are looking to get in range of Montana and Sacramento State, which will be a bit of a spoiler for you guys, but we will actually see two of those teams that are tied for first place. They will play each other late in the episode, but you know, these two teams right here fighting for that tie for second place, as well as to remain just one game back in terms of winning that automatic qualifier for the Pac-10 conference. We'll see how it ends up shaking out, as we'll see North Dakota State start with the football, as Anderson finds some good running room here early, able to get it deep into Viking territory, looking to pillage that end zone a little bit. As it got first and goal from the 4-yard line. Ferguson actually bamboozling the defense really well. Everybody, and I mean everybody, went towards Ken Anderson, and it sets up a perfect play. Touchdown, North Dakota State. As the Bison are going to march forward, they will take a 7-0 lead here early. That man was absolutely butt naked wide open, and now Kyle Hardy, he's got some work to do trying to lead a decent little drive, but unfortunately Jonathan Finnerty, he is going to pick that football off. Might have been the very first interception that we have seen this entire season from him, and that's just a critical error by Kyle Hardy, starting quarterback, one of your guys' customs as well, as it allows North Dakota State to continue to pitch this little shutout that they got going on, as all three favorites being absolutely dominant right now. We see the offense ball out pretty well. Same thing for the defense, and now we get a little bit of a hat trick. We got the special teams pulling their weight here, as it's now 14-0. We still got a few quarters left to play, and you know everything is going your way when even the fullback is able to find a significant hole. Sometimes dreams do indeed come true. Massive game for the fullback, as it helps lead the Bison to yet another red zone opportunity. First and goal from the 10-yard line, as Ferguson going to get to the left-hand side, pitches it out to Anderson, and Anderson is able to beat that defense. Untouched, by the way, able to find the end zone. And that's going to give North Dakota State now a 21-0 lead here, as we'll see what kind of fight Portland State has, because it is certainly not going their way early. I can tell you that right now. As here we go, first and goal from the 2-yard line. Fullback going to get a little bit of love here. 2-yard touchdown run. That makes it 28-0. We got ourselves a barn burner, but that barn is only burning on one side. As now, Ferguson actually going to get involved in the passing game, as we actually go ahead and see John Weeks the true freshman come down and make the catch. We don't see John Weeks make very many plays. He is buried on that wide receiver depth chart, but that time made the play that will set up this specific touchdown as well. And it's now 35-0. That is what this score is going to be. Portland State, man, absolutely bamboozled, flabbergasted, just absolutely. They are running in circles right now around this football team. And we'll see if Kyle Hardy can get it back on track here before the end of the first half. Looking over the middle, but it's going to be intercepted again. It's Jonathan Finnerty. He gets 2 interceptions in this game. You want to talk about an early candidate for NCAA Defensive Player of the Week. That is how you go ahead and pull that off. 2 interceptions, not only in a game, but in a single half. In a single half of football, you guys. And now North Dakota State, they get their 5th red zone opportunity of this ball game. We'll see if they can capitalize. Ferguson gonna pitch it to the outside and finds the end zone. Touchdown, North Dakota State, and the Bison are going to be up. Really incredible margin, 42-0 before we get into the halftime locker room, and it ends up being an absolutely dominating affair, even though the Dogs were ultimately called off in the second half. Bison winning 56-6. So we go into the game of the week here. We got number 21 Tulane taking on the top 10 ranked Rice Owls, who are also undefeated right now. Rice, not a team that was ranked in the top 25 when this season started, but they got some impressive wins on the resume, including most notably their win against Western Carolina, who also happens to be ranked in the top 5. So that was a really impressive victory for this Rice squad. We'll see if they can keep that going now that they're starting to get into the meat of conference play. As we'll jump right into it midway through the first quarter. Johnson going to get it to the outside. He's got some space to scoot. Pitches it out to his running back as he is going to find the end zone. Touchdown, Rice. And look at Shafino. Absolutely nobody on screen right now. As Rice looking to dominate early. Johnson out the right-hand side. Pitches out to the tailback. Somehow gets out of it, though. And that is going to be a foot race. And that tailback, when it comes to the talent in the Conference USA Conference, even with the top end squads, not a lot of people are going to be able to catch up to this kid. I'll tell you what, especially once he gets into that open field. So that is going to be another touchdown for the Rice Owls, as that'll be a 14-0 lead. So Tulane, they're going to need that spark. They're going to need that spark really badly, because I'll tell you what, it is very dangerous. Early in the game, this could very well run away from them, but we do see Tulane get that response that they're looking for. And also, how about that balance? Able to keep himself in bounds there too. McGuire going to be able to take that thing all the way back to the crib. And it's just a one-score game. We're going to tie it up, and we get that as well. So Tulane instantly going to strike back 14-all. As we now jump into midway through the second quarter now. 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. They do a play action. It works well, as there was multiple guys there that this man could have thrown to, and still ends up getting that touchdown, man. You love to see it. Look at this. There were 2 guys that was literally butt naked, wide open, as that is going to be another touchdown for Rice. As those points are going to continue to be poured on, we got ourselves a potential shootout on our hands, as we do end up seeing some high stepping into the end zone. At least Martin not showing the football to them. At least they're not doing them that dirty, but special teams really starting to have a serious effect right now. We really seeing Rice special teams do some really incredible work, and that's going to continue here as we see yet another touchdown from that special team squadron, man. 35-14 now. Still a first half, and here's the thing. Tulane football not even doing that bad. They are not even doing that bad on the offensive end. 14 points and a half. You're kind of happy about that for an FCS squad. But Rice is brought today, man. Straight up and down. 3 special teams touchdowns. Just at this point, you got to look at that Tulane special teams coach, and he's probably going to put in a pink slip come Monday because, yeah, I'll tell you what, not a good look. Not a good look to give up 3 touchdowns from your special teams, and that has really been the difference in this game. That's the reason why we see the margin being what it is, as Johnson is going to run through a couple of defenders. And how about this? Another touchdown for the Rice Owls. Look at this hard work here, man. Nice job identifying the hole, first of all, but also running through 2 free defenders. And that's going to be barbecue chicken, as Rice will improve to 6-0 on the season. So as we're getting FCS action underway here in week number 8, let's check out some games that we did not get to see in gameplay here in the early afternoon. We start with Morgan State, who have just been having a tremendously awful season. 0-7 now. They lose yet another game, this time to Central Michigan, losing 56-17, as the Chippewas will remain undefeated. As for some other Saturday afternoon action, how about Stephen F. Austin pulling off a big-time upset? They beat Utah State on the road, winning 39-35. The Lumberjacks getting their second win of the season, and that should kick Utah State out of the top 25. Troy, meanwhile, also facing the same fate, as they do end up losing to Louisiana Monroe 23-17. Troy also should be falling out of the top 25. Georgia Southern also having a close call as well in SEC action. Taking on Texas State on the road, they do win 31-28 against a winless Bobcats team. But not every top 25 team has had some struggles though, as Akron was a special case. They played 8 games in the last 8 weeks, still waiting for their first bye, and Akron wins 38-16 against the Sycamores of Indiana State. San Diego State also still continuing that tradition of not losing a single game in the regular season in this dynasty so far, as they take care of business against conference opponent Omaha 45-17, dropping the Mavericks to 1-5. Buffalo also making sure their business is taken care of, as they beat Illinois State 35-18 in MAC action, dropping the Redbirds down to 1-5 on the year. However, we do get a couple of blowouts here in this week. Yale able to crush Cornell, winning 40-9. Yale gets itself back to 500. But as that sun sets and that temperature drops, we got more intense action that's going to only heat things up, as we now go down to Chattanooga, taking on the Alabama State Hornets in Big 12 conference action, as Chattanooga certainly sits on top of the Big 12 North right now, as they have solid lead over Alabama State. Different kind of states in their season as of right now. Chattanooga actually on the verge of being ranked. If they do end up winning this game, they could very well be ranked in the top 25. That would be the first time that would happen to them in this series, as now we will go ahead and see if they can beat the teams that they were supposed to beat here on national television. But T.Y. Huntley might have something to say about it, as he drops back the pass, facing some pressure though, throws it over the right hand side, and actually delivers a really nice ball there. Looks like a linebacker or an offensive lineman. So, a lot of these FCS teams still working on their depth, so that was really intriguing to see that kind of stuff happen. But T.Y. Huntley is also going to take a pretty nasty sack there, as it's now going to back him up a few yards. 2nd and 16, as Chattanooga does not send the blitz this time, looking over the middle of the field and delivers another fantastic football. That's going to be not caught for a touchdown, but it does get it right into the red zone, where Alabama State is able to go ahead and finish the drive. Touchdown Hornets, and that is going to be a 7-0 lead, courtesy of a T.Y. Huntley touchdown pass. So now we saw Alabama State offense. Let's see what Chattanooga can do, as we see him drop back to pass. Look, and got all the time in the world. Does eventually get hit though. One of the receivers does end up coming back to the football, and it comes back for a very significant game. Going to be able to get all the way down to the 26-yard line, as now We'll see if Chattanooga can get a touchdown on the board as Jackson drops back, throws quickly to the left-hand side, gonna get it inbounds and get it to Malachi Ross for into the end zone. Touchdown, Chattanooga Mocs. And they got some moxie on that drive for sure, as that's gonna nod things up. And now the pressure back on the underdogs. T.Y. Huntley, what's the answer? They got an answer in their running game, that's for sure, as Jamal Williams slicing right through the defense, found an incredible hole. And they are going to have to settle for a field goal. They don't do much after that. But Alabama State, they do have the lead as of right now, but an unearned error by T.Y. Huntley should have taken the sack instead. But instead, Nate Wright, one of the safeties on this team, is going to pick this football off. And now a red zone opportunity is now Jackson dropping back, throws it over the middle, and throws an absolute missile to the true freshman, Mike Thomas, who was able to run it into the end zone. Nobody catching up to him, at least not this time around. And now Chattanooga with the lead and potentially could extend that lead going into halftime, as that is another great throw over the middle of the field. Ja'Shawn Jackson, he's on his stuff today. Is now back in Alabama State territory. They've been having some great results thus far, as Jackson trying to get it out to Malachi Ross once again, but this time it does end up getting intercepted. And I did a thing. I saw that, man, and I definitely jinxed him right there. So Alabama State, they will go ahead and take possession of the football with 90 seconds left to play in the first half, as we will see a play action for T.Y. Huntley. He's going to launch this thing downfield. He's got a man, and that is going to go into the end zone. Touchdown, Hornets. And they are certainly going to try to put a sting into Chattanooga's season, as it will be Alabama State that is going to take the lead right back up by a field goal. And after a 3 and out by Chattanooga, they can extend it even further, but they try to get a little bit cute towards the end of the first half. Thankfully, it doesn't affect the scoreboard, but it will affect the turnover margin, as that will end up being the very last play of the first half. It does end up getting intercepted. If you're going to try a pass, why not try it with T.Y. Huntley? Just a very curious decision, trying to throw the football his way. And to be fair, he did have a step, but running back just did not have the effective arm for it. But we jump into the second half. Alabama State putting Chattanooga on upset alert here potentially. Interception gets returned for a touchdown. That's Chattanooga's second turnover of the game. And this turnover does end up being devastating. So here we go, 17 seconds left. Actually, 17 seconds gone in the second half here. And Chattanooga down by multiple possessions. This play right here, this possession right here, could very well be huge. Can they get down the field? Jackson looking again, looking to the right-hand side. He's going to throw this football deep, gets it out there, 2-on-1, but Rodney Pino is still going to come down and make that catch anyways. And that's going to be first and goal for Chattanooga, as they work to work themselves right back into this football game. Solid red zone team. They do have a 75% success rate in the red zone, but that's going to bring them down a little notch, as that ends up being intercepted. And Alabama State really playing extremely well here on national television right now. Ja'Shawn Jackson, third interception of this game. He does help with the tackle, but you absolutely hate to see it though, as the Hornets can extend their lead even more. But T.Y. Huntley is going to throw an interception as well. So now both teams playing a little bit sloppier than what we saw in the first half. We now seen both squads turn the ball over 3 separate times, as now we drop back to pass. Gonna go ahead, get it out to Robert Pino. Pino gonna run it in the end zone. Touchdown, Chattanooga. And the Mocs get back into this game. Now only down by a singular field goal. Can Alabama State hang on, though? His next possession, Huntley tries to throw right, gets it to the tight end. This tight end can scoot a little bit. He breaks the tackle. He finally is going to be wrapped up, but how about that, folks? Rumbling and stumbling his way downfield. And actually got some pretty good blocks as well, I'm not going to lie to you. Nice blocking from those offensive skill players. Kind of helped create some additional yards on that play. That's why effort always matters, man. And now, on the verge of field goal range because of that. We'll see if T.Y. Honey can finish the drive with points as he overthrows his receiver. Nate Wright, once again, is going to be intercepted. He is going to be picked off as well, and that is interception number 2 for the strong safety. So down by a field goal because of those crucial turnovers. Is that going to nab Alabama State in the butt, though? Well, it looks like it just might happen. Mike Thomas on a 3rd and inches gets wide butt naked open on a play action, and look at this space that he has. Delivers a good football, and that boy, he is going to be gone like a girl in a country song, as that does end up being the ultimate difference. That last turnover was a killer, as Chattanooga does end up surviving, and they will win this football game 31-27, being that final score. Again, it's not about how you win, it's about whether you get that W or you holding that L. And Chattanooga, while not their best game by any means, multiple turnovers, they do end up winning this game and could very well see themselves in the top 25. Meanwhile, in terms of top 25 matchups, we got 2 good teams ready to duke it out here in the SEC. The Battle of Northwestern Ohio, or not Western Ohio. Yeah, you gotta give me a little bit of a break there. I am from that Buckeye State, but Northwestern Louisiana, that's what this rivalry game is all about. And we're going to get a good one here. 2 teams in the top 25, both in the race to make the playoffs as an at-large team. And that's a big deal because Northwestern State, they were close to winning that AQ bid the last couple of years. Just hasn't happened for them yet. And so winning this game, Northwestern State, would really help in getting that at-large bid taken care of as we go ahead. We get an early 7-0 lead for the Nicholls State Colonels. As now, Matt Lewis jumps it out to the perimeter. Aiden Rose going to get involved in this football game. No one's going to have the time to catch him as the tight end, the sophomore preseason All-American. He is going to rumble. He is going to stumble, and he is going to add some points into the end zone. Touchdown, Demons. So a tied ball games here and the inklings of an exciting one. Frederick McNair tries to go on the option, and how about this? This man gets absolutely lit up like a Christmas tree. As now McNair forced to pass the football, and we got a fumble on the play developing, and it is going to be recovered by the Northwestern State defense. O'Connor able to get his hands on it. It's going to help the Demons build a solid lead, as after the touchdown by true freshman Bo Arias, the former #1 running back in high school football. Well, let me tell you something right now. Northwestern State trying to throttle their rivals in this game, and surely enough, we're seeing that right now. Frederick McNair taking some shots right now, that's for sure. As he'll pass again here, looking downfield, trying to make a play happen, but that is going to be intercepted. So another turnover for the quarterback while trying to take care of the football. Frederick McNair just not on top of this game, and that's going to have to be the case for him to go ahead and try to win this game for his Colonel squad. As Northwestern State will get one last chance with the ball before the end of the half, as we do end up seeing an interception downfield. And that will end up being picked off by the Nicholls State corner. As now we go into the halftime locker room. It's going to be 20-7. What kind of adjustments will the Colonels make in order to get back into this football game? Going to have to start with the defensive side of the ball. Can they stop Bo Arias? Arias absolutely gets lit up like a Christmas tree. Oh my, did he take a shot? And now, following Matt Lewis, looking over the middle, and that's going to be intercepted. He's got a convoy, but he does run into a defender. I guess now a former offensive lineman playing some defense, and not only is that an interception, but that will also get the Nicholls State offense in Demon territory. Let's see if they can get on Demon time here and get this football team right back into the game. Is now following that interception. Couple plays later, 3rd and 16, not where you want to be following the turnover. So Frederick McNair is actually going to throw this down the left-hand side, and Speedy Woods is going to make that catch. Look at this, one-on-one. It's a go route. He was tracking that football and just wins the matchup on the outside. So now, 1st and goal from the free. Throwing to the right-hand side. It's fumbled, but Deuce Randolph, the sophomore custom, is still able to get the pitch. So not exactly how they drew it up there by any means, but that being said, it at least will give Nicholls State another touchdown on the board. So a 6-point game, but that will not last very long though, as Bo Arias, he gets chopped down, but they are going to reward him the touchdown, none of the less. And that's now 27-14 in favor of the Demons, looking to put their rivals in their place right now, and they're certainly getting that type of performance. 30-14 game as we jump into the 4th quarter. Nicholls State has to go ahead and punt this football away, as we'll see what Northwestern State can do with it, and that is going to be an easy touchdown for the Demons there on special teams. So a huge deficit for Nicholls State. They are not necessarily built to, make this kind of comeback, but it is what it is at this point. They do at least get one late touchdown. Could be borderline garbage time, as they will end up trying to go for the 2-point conversion. But before I jump into that, we got to talk about what Speedy Woods did right there. Able to create some space for himself, and no one was catching him after that. 17-point game. They do end up failing the 2-point conversion, and then they also end up getting intercepted too, to go with that good stuff as well. So yeah, you hate to see it. Nicholls State, they shouldn't feel too bad about themselves. They do lose to a very good Northwestern State football team, as the Demons are going to improve to 5-1 after Northwestern State wins this football game, 37-20 being the final score. Meanwhile, Nicholls State, they do end up dropping their 2nd game of the season. Still well in play for an at-large bid for sure. They shouldn't fall too far in the top 25 rankings. But this is their 2nd loss. And, Nicholls State, they're certainly going to have to finish the year strong now if they do want to get that at-large bid to the FCS playoffs. Speaking of a couple of teams that are in FCS playoff contention, we got Southeast Missouri State. And Southeast Missouri State, they are currently the number 12 team in college football down here at the FCS level, as they go to O'Brien Stadium here in Charleston, Illinois, to go play the Eastern Illinois Panthers. As Eastern Illinois, they still kind of are in a position to make the playoffs as well as a at-large team, but they are currently on a 2-game losing streak. They have just not been the same since their matchup against Sanford. They have been down horrendous as of late, and now they got to go up against one of the best young defenses in college football in this Redhawks defense, top 10 in the country in terms of yards allowed. So we'll see if Eastern Illinois is up to the task, and early on able to get a couple of plays, and would you look like that, you're going to see a touchdown here. Eastern Illinois actually going to take the lead against that number 12 team. We end up seeing a couple of missed tackles there, and now we actually do end up seeing Southeast Missouri State punt the football. Now that is a weakness of the Redhawks. They are not great on offense. They're probably average for an FCS squad, but if they do end up not making it a deep run, their offense could be the reason for that. They are definitely a liability for sure, but defensively, their defense is fantastic. Obviously, we see them get an interception right here, and that will keep it a 7-0 game. But we got to see Travis Johnson cook here, and he is certainly going to cook for sure, as that is going to be a touchdown for the Red Hawks, as that will allow this game to be all knotted up at 7 apiece now, following that extra point, which they do end up successfully making. Later on in the game, looking over to the right-hand side, it's yet another really great play for Travis Johnson. And Travis Johnson now with multiple touchdown passes. So they actually did miss the first extra point, so I'll be curious to see if they end up deciding to go for 2 so that they can make this an even 7-point game. But they actually do not choose to do that. A little bit too early for all of that. It's 13-7 now, and that could be enough lead for this Red Hawks defense. I'm telling you, it is a really great punch, and we're seeing some of that right here as well. Ken Trill, the true freshman, able to get the interception. Very talented group, and we saw it there, able to go sideline to sideline in order to go ahead and make a play on the football. So another extra possession for the Red Hawks. We'll see if Travis Johnson can take advantage as they go play action. Looking over the right-hand side, looking for the end zone, and actually going to get it. So a touchdown for Southeast Missouri State, as this lead does end up getting a little bit larger now. Make that 20-7 as of right now. You'll love to see it if you are Coach Ty Bergian right now. I will tell you what. As now, Eastern Illinois, they got to find a way to get back into this game. It's not looking good, and you can see why it's not looking good. Yet another interception. This time, it's the senior veteran, Eric Davidson, who has just been a really great mentor. I will tell you what, great mentor for all these young guys. Got them ready to go. He is the heart and soul of that defense. We are seeing that here, continuing to harass this quarterback as we get Bam Bam Hendricks able to light him up from the back, as that's now going to back up the Eastern Illinois Panthers. 3rd and long here, trying to make a play, looking over the middle of the field, and it's intercepted again. Ken Trill with his 2nd interception of the game. And how about this defense, man? I talk a lot about this defense when Southeast Missouri State plays. And man, are they living up to that billing? 4 turnovers that they ended up forcing in the first half. We still have another half of football left to go. It's just plain ugly. There's no other way to say it. Just plain ugly for Eastern Illinois. But we'll go ahead and give that defense a little bit of break. Let's talk about that special teams real quick. And boy, is this special here. How about taking it all the way to the crib? Touchdown Southeast Missouri State, and a little bit topping on the cake, trying to run out some clock, trying to finish the game. Another score to get some style points here, because as you guys already know, and as you can see through the current actual college football season that we have here in 2022, as of the recording of this video, of course, style points matter, man. Style points really do matter sometimes, and the Southeast Missouri State get them up, man. 40-7 ends up being your final score, as the Red Hawks continue to prove that, hey, that playoff appearance that they made in season number 2, that is definitely not a fluke by any stretch of the imagination, and they will put those things to rest against Eastern Illinois. You love to see it. Now, before we check into the final couple of games that we have planned showing in this episode, let's check out some games in simulation as Sanford loses again. They lose to Western Kentucky 34-28, and that should knock the Sanford Bulldogs out of the top 25. Temple also nearly receiving the same fate. They narrowly escape a win against Montana State, winning 31-24. That does improve Temple's record up to 5-1. However, that being said, Idaho, they do end up looking a lot better as the season goes on. They beat Northern Colorado pretty convincingly, winning 35-13 in order to bolster their record up to 4-1. But now we jump into the night action, and that night action typically favors those Pacific Coast teams. You know, get to see these games feature really some evening games for them, but night games for us over here on the East Coast. And we got some good matchups, man. Starting off with Sacramento State and Montana, who, winner of this game, by the way, is going to have sole possession of first place in the entire conference. The entire Pac-10 conference, they would be in the driver's seat for that automatic qualifier. So, should be a really good matchup. Should be an intriguing matchup. Montana is already ranked. We have seen them in the FCS playoffs before. While Sacramento State, they are trying to work themselves in to the FCS playoffs for the very first time. We'll see what they can do as they throw it to Jacob Hill. And Jacob Hill is going to get a really nice reception to start this game. 33 yards. A nice little comeback pattern. Looks like that defensive back just kind of bit a little bit too much on the high side. And it puts the Sacramento State squad in solid field position, looking to strike. And look at this. The tight end is going to get some involvement, rumbling and stumbling down that football field. That is going to be a first down for the Hornets, as that is now going to be inside the 5-yard line. First and goal. Corey Hall, he's going to throw a bullet out to Jacob Hill in the end zone. Touchdown, Hornets. And Jacob Hill is going to give Sacramento State the lead on the road, by the way, in doing so against the number 16 team in all of college football. And matter of fact, their defense is showing up pretty well, and that's setting up some additional opportunities for this offense, man. Between him, the tight end, and Corey Hall, just seems like a free-headed monster in terms of that passing attack. Like, that is a bigger guy. I don't know how you end up trying to cover this guy. Definitely not what you want to see. As now, 1st and 10 from the 22-yard line. We'll see if they go with a play action, and they do. Montana bites on it, and Jacob Hill, wide, butt naked open, in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Sacramento State. And Jacob Hill, the true freshman, by the way, might be having himself a breakout day so far. 2 receiving touchdowns already. It ends up being his 5th of the season. As now we see this Montana offense try to go to work. They've dug themselves in a hole early, but we'll see if they can get themselves back in it as Travis Slaughter tries to throw a pass over the middle, but that's going to be intercepted. So hang on now. Sacramento State making their presence known here, letting it be known that, hey, we are here and we are ready to compete for the FCS playoffs right now. We are not waiting for next season to happen and to be a thing. And Hornets get really great field position. Once again, starting out across midfield. And we'll see if they can take advantage of it. That's what you got to do if you want to beat a top 25 team. And Corey Hall wants it all and gets it. Another touchdown for Jacob Hill. Oh my goodness. That is 3 receiving touchdowns. That is number 6 on the year. If this guy doesn't win Player of the Week, I'm going to be highly upset based on what he's been able to do in just the first half. And speaking of that first half, is this going to be number 4? It's going to be number 4. Somebody double team this man. I don't know what they're trying to do. If the guy has 3 touchdowns and you put him in single coverage one-on-one against a smaller corner, like, what are we actually trying to accomplish here, right? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. But it's not just Jacob Hill putting points up on the board. It's the rest of this Hornet squad, as this is a surprise. This is certainly a surprise right here. 35-3 lead is what we are done seeing right now. And we still got another half of football left to play. This has been really shocking stuff, and that lead is going to grow even bigger. 38-3, a 35-point deficit that Montana is facing right now. But that being said, Montana not completely hapless, as Seth Crowell is going to get the 2nd interception of his collegiate career. Was eyeing that running back out of the backfield, so that will at least bring the offense back on the field. But Travis Slaughter has been taken out of the game. He did end up getting hurt on one of the last drives before the end of the first half. And now the backup quarterback's in the game. Now their backup quarterback situation little bit better than what it was in season 1. But that being said, though, it's still your backup quarterback. But hey, this QB can play too. He's a college quarterback. He can do some things for you. And Montana finally gets a touchdown on the board. It cuts it down to a 28-point game. Still a lot of work that is going to need to be done if they want to go ahead and pull off the incredible comeback. As now Corey Hall is going to drop back. He's going to look over the middle of the field and delivers a really great ball that will once again put Sacramento State in Montana territory as they look to strike and strike hard. 28-point game still. First and goal from the 2-yard line. Corey Hall facing some really intense pressure. He's going to take really big sack there. Don't know who ended up getting the sack for Montana, but man, did it look like it certainly hurt. As Montana, they were not fooled by that whatsoever. So 3rd and goal. We got Sacramento State solid on 3rd down. 2 for 5 on those 3rd down conversions. As now Corey Hall going under center. We'll see who they hand it off. They do. It's a toss play to the left, but it's going to be blown up in the backfield. And it's going to be a turnover on this offense. And Montana's going to be able to recover. So maybe this will help them get a little bit of a spark. Get back into this game. Not necessarily. Montana does not score there. Still a 28-point game. As Corey Hall still trying to make some things happen. Surprised he's still in the game, to be honest with you. I mean, he's did his thing, but you know, Corey Hall, he's being a little bit more sloppy here in the 3rd quarter. He's thrown another interception here. They also had the fumble there as well. So they're trying to invite Montana to get back in this game and create some kind of historical comeback. But hang on now. What do we have here? An incredible spin move worthy of a laundromat, because that was quite the spin cycle that we ended up seeing there. It's now a 21-point game here all of a sudden. Listen, I've seen bigger leads being completely blown. You can ask the Atlanta Falcons about that in the Super Bowl, but that's going to be crushed quickly. Sacramento State, they get another touchdown. This time it's their fullback that's going to go ahead and get themselves a little bit involved. And hey, Sacramento State, they not only do they win the game, they win on the road against a top 20 team, a team that's certainly in the hunt to make the FCS playoffs, but winning in blowout fashion, 45-17. If this does not get the Hornets ranked in the top 25, I don't know what will, to be perfectly honest with you guys. But I'll tell you what, I was really impressed with what I saw there, and Sacramento State at 4-2, going to control their own destiny here in the Pac-12 conference. Something that I did not see coming when year number 3 first got started here in this series. But for the final game of the week, we got the number 5 team in the country taking on another team that is also facing NCAA sanctions. So none of these teams are going to make it to the FCS playoffs this year due to those NCAA penalties. They are under 2-year probation, but Western Carolina, they still are allowed to be, ranked in the AP top 25, and they're the number 5 team in the country, taking on this Texas Southern squad. While not ranked, they do have some good wins. James Madison, for example, being one of them, a fellow top 10 team in the country, and looking to get their second top 25 win of the year for this Texas Southern. But they got to find a way to contain Michael Williams, one of the best. Actually, from an overall standpoint, he has the highest overall in this Dynasty file. He's a 94 overall. So definitely someone that is getting some NFL buzz despite being an FCS school. And how about this to get it going? Michael Young is going to throw a really nice pass in the back of the end zone, and Western Carolina shows why they are one of the best teams in college football. Still a lot to play for the Catamounts, even though they do not get a chance at the FCS playoffs. Can still go to the conference championship and win that. But that being said, Texas Southern, they are not going to make it easy by any stretch of the imagination, as Solomon Less is able to get loose on the back end and nearly scores a touchdown out of it. Just doesn't quite have the foot speed that you're necessarily looking for, but does set up Texas Southern an opportunity to get some points themselves. A couple plays later, they're going to go to Roger Murray, who's going to run in the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. And Texas Southern is going to be able to strike right back. And not only that, next possession, they're going to add on to some more points as we see another touchdown for Texas Southern. So the Tigers are going to take a 14-7 lead over the Catamounts of Western Carolina, and doing it on the road. That's exactly how they want to play, and try to get it to where Michael Young is going to have to win the game, because while he does have some experience at the JUCO level, he has been turnover prone. So we'll see if that comes into play potentially as this game goes on. But right now, Western Carolina, they definitely got those keys out. They're putting together a solid drive and going to that running game. Not going to even try to risk it for the biscuit. It ends up being a touchdown for the Catamounts, as that is just an absolutely massive hole. Even my slow ass could probably run right through there, and it's a tie ball game. As now 14-all here between Western Carolina and Texas Southern. And how about this? A little bit of luck is going to be returned possibly to the end zone, and it ends up eventually being brought down. But Robert Brufenthal is going to create a ton of momentum for Texas Southern. Just really being in the right place in the right time. You know, just regular deflection at first, and then, hey, making some things work out. As Adam Mayhew, using his foot speed, he's going to rush it into the end zone himself. And that is going to be a touchdown for the Tigers. And the sophomore quarterback is going to give his team a 21-14 lead over the number 5 team in America. You love to see it. But we'll see if Western Carolina can answer back. 3rd and 4 from the 30-yard line. Young got 4 wide, 2 to each side, but it looks like there was a miscommunication there, as what we did end up seeing is that it looks like, I don't know if he was supposed to go outward or what was going on, but Michael Young, he threw to a spot where he thought a receiver was going to be, and that just didn't happen. That did not happen at all, and that is going to be an easy interception for Texas Southern, as they have a chance to extend this lead further. Dropping back, we got Mayhew looking down the left-hand side, and it's Solomon West, the true freshman custom, who is going to get into the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. And Texas Southern, they do possibly the unthinkable. They're going to take a 2-touchdown lead on the number 5 team in the nation. Like I said, Michael Young, a little bit turnover prone, and while Texas Southern is the best team and they're not going to be a playoff team by any means, they are going to certainly make you pay for it. And we're seeing some of that right now, as it's a 2-touchdown game. So huge drive here for the Catamounts. You want to get some points on the board before you go into that halftime locker room, as Young under center facing a blitz, going to get it out early, one-on-one, and it's going to be caught. Touchdown, Catamounts. Texas Southern, they bring the blitz, so left their corners on an island, and that's going to be barbecue chicken, because this Western Carolina receiving core, outside of Michael Williams, because Michael Williams, haven't really said his name much, but he gets a ton of attention for sure. They're a really talented group, but you know what they're not talented at? Tackling. We see some of that right here. Texas Southern is going to instantly respond. They go get into that special teams bag, and that is going to be a touchdown for the Tigers, 35-21. As we got 30 seconds left to play here in the second quarter, as Michael Young is going to take some pressure. He's going to take a sack. Western Carolina, they do end up taking their second timeout, so only 1 timeout left to work with. So we'll see what the Catamounts do here with 30 seconds left to play. Going to try to run it up the middle. Got a huge hole to work with. Oh, hang on now. Foot race, and he is going to be good like a girl in a country song. Touchdown, Catamounts. And right before we get into the halftime locker room, how about some lightning strikes, as that is going to be taken to the crib. And them Catamounts, man, they are right back into this football game. As we jump to the second half now. Later on, 38-28 game. Young looks over the middle and might have not gotten enough on that football, because that went right into a linebacker. And that said linebacker is going to take it all the way to the crib as well. Touchdown, Tigers. And that is a huge swing. Western Carolina, they were, trying to drive downfield. They actually got to pretty decent field position as well. I mean, nobody was around, so that tells me Michael Young just did not get enough on that football. But then, you got this advantage You don't have to be cute with it. And that's what they did. They were cute with it. And now Western Carolina was able to force a turnover. But they will not be able to do anything too concrete, as it is still a 17-point lead for Texas Southern. As now Mayhew drops back. But how about this? We don't see this very often. That ball flew in the air after Adam Mayhew was no longer able to control it. Just a really great heads-up play here by Rogers to see that it was volleyball spiked into the air. And now Western Carolina, 10-point game here once again. Another huge drive for the Catamounts. This time, can they deliver? Young, free wide set to the right. Young looks back. He faces a pressure though, and eventually is going to be sacked. His offensive line gave him a ton of time, but just nobody to go to the football with. So now 4th and 16. We're in the 4th quarter. Michael Young's going to go for it, and there is Michael Williams making a play. We finally get a piece of him, and that's a really big time as well, as that is going to put the Catamounts just outside of the red zone, as this is going to be huge. Young gonna know, play action, looks to right hand side, and there it is. Micah Young going to go to Michael Williams. Touchdown Catamounts. But after a failed onside kick, Texas Southern, they were able to go ahead and run out the remainder of this clock. So, needless to say, a very heartbreaking loss for the Catamounts here, as we'll see them go down by a final score of 45-42. And you absolutely hate to see it, but Western Carolina takes their second loss of the season, while Texas Southern, 4-2, having a solid little season. They're able to hang on and win this football game. So before we take a look at the ESPN magazine, let's go ahead and take one last look at some other 8 p.m. games that we didn't get a chance to watch. Eastern Michigan being one of them, going on the road to play against Southern Illinois and handling their business, winning 49-7 as the Eagles improve to 5-2. Meanwhile, UCF continues their strong season that they're having so far, this time beating Villanova at home over in the Bounce House, winning 38-29 as UCF improves to 6-1. Speaking of high-end teams in the Conference USA, Eastern Carolina goes on the road to take on the Richmond Spiders, and Eastern Carolina wins 31-14, also bolstering their record up to 5-2. And now, let's go ahead and take a look at that Sports Illustrated magazine that just came out here in the aftermath of week number 8. Alright boys, so that does end up concluding week number 8 action here, as we do see those Catamounts that we just saw on the Sports Illustrated magazine, but not in a positive way, as, hey, games aren't played on paper all the time. It is what it is, but let's go ahead and check out that top 25 poll, because I'm sure we're going to have a few changes with the number of top 25 teams that did actually lose. And for the first top 4, it's going to remain the same: New Hampshire, San Diego State, Central Michigan, UCF. James Madison, though, they move into the top 5. Rice is now at number 6 in the country. North Dakota State, they're up to number 7 with a 50-point win over Portland State. Georgia Southern's up 1 after a field goal win against Texas State. We still got Akron. Northwestern State, great win on the road against Nicholls State. They end up moving up into the top 10. Outside of the top 10, though, we got Southeast Missouri State. They end up with a 40-7 win over Eastern Illinois. We also have Western Carolina with one of the biggest drops of the week, obviously. They are now down to number 15 in the country. They lose by a field goal to Texas Southern. Huge upset for Texas Southern. We'll see if they can get themselves into the AP top 25 as of a direct result of that victory. But speaking of taking some L's, Nicholls State, they took an L as well, second loss of the year. A 17-point loss, but they only moved down a few spots, which feels appropriate given that they did play against a really good Northwestern State team. But we got a bunch of newcomers into the poll this week. We got Chattanooga. We saw them beat Alabama State narrowly. They do take care of business, though, now number 21. Tennessee Martin, the Skyhawks, they soared in number 22 thanks to a 13-point win over Tennessee Tech. Montana's still sticking around even with the big loss to Sacramento State. North Carolina A&T, they are in here as well, 6-2 on the year. They still haven't had a bye week, and that's going to remain the case here in week number 9. They actually have yet another conference game, and then Texas Southern takes that last spot after a 3-point win over a previously top 5 team in the country. Now, as for teams that are receiving some votes, thanks to Sacramento State's really impressive victory, they're now in here receiving votes. 97 total votes for Sacramento State. Rhode Island is in there as well. They got 91. Tennessee State's in there. Sam Houston State's in there. Sanford, while they do end up falling out of the top 25 entirely, they are still receiving votes. They're in there in like the low 30s in terms of national ranking. Now, we did not get a chance to see anybody in the Heisman Trophy race play in this week's gameplay, but with that being said, though, we do have some great players of the week. How about sophomore corner Brandon Martin getting named Offensive Player of the Week? Now, let me explain. He did his work on special teams, and listen, he certainly was an offensive weapon. He ends up with, listen, only 14 kick return yards, but he had almost 200 punt return yards in the game. 3 touchdowns to his name as well. So Brandon Martin, he certainly was a weapon, and he nearly outscores Tulane all by himself as Rice was able to cruise against the Tulane Green Wave in the game of the week. But on the defensive side of the football, we got Aztecs linebacker Jeff Cox, the true sophomore, taking on that Omaha team, and he was flying all over the field. He ends up with 13 tackles, 6 of which were TFLs, multiple sacks, even forcing a fumble, which he was able to recover as well. A great performance for him in that conference matchup over in the Mountain West. So that's going to wrap things up here for week number 8 as we now march on to week number 9. We're starting to see those bowl rankings come out, and we're starting to see a more definitive picture. Some teams to definitely watch out for sure. Are we going to see some teams eventually make their first trip to the FCS playoffs? We'll have to wait and see, as there's still a few weeks of regular season action to unfold, but it's been really exciting, and I hope you guys have been really able to enjoy it. So if you enjoyed today's gameplay episode, man, I need you guys to go ahead, smack that like button for me, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. This is John Chick Gaming on the mic, signing off for now, but I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.